Today you're going to be downloading a template file for PC Draft. On the activity page, it says to download the file activity 1, and there's a little arrow next to it. If you click on the little arrow, it'll automatically download the file for you. The downloaded file goes up here into your downloads folder. Clicking on it opens up the file. Now this is a template file, so it's not saved. It's called Untitled 2 right now. Here's maybe something different. The very first thing you should always do is save your work. So under the File tab, it shows Save. This is called the ribbon, and then each one of these is a tab. So under the File tab is Save. The first time you save it, it's going to ask you, where do you want to save it? Do you want to save it on the desktop? Do you want to save it in your Documents folder? Or do you want to save it in what they call the H drive? This one right here is the H drive. It'll have your last name and your username on it of some sort. There's the home, the desktop, libraries, this PC, and this PC should have your H drive, your server drive. It's kind of like your Google Drive. And you'll click right there, whatever your last name is. You'll also want to save it. So there, I've double clicked on it. Now it's into my H drive. Always make sure your name is right there. You'll also want to give the file a name. So don't just leave it untitled. You want to name it your last name. So if your last name was Smith, you'd write Smith. And then activity 1. This way we know it's your file activity 1, and save. Now I can see it's Smith activity 1, and here we are ready to start using the software. As I said earlier, you have all of these tabs along here. The first tab that should concern you after File is the View. The first tab that should concern you is the Window tab. The Window tab opens up all the different windows. Right now you can see that I have the Tool window open. See, the Tool is kind of highlighted, but there's a Dimension window. There's an Accessory window. There's a Show Size window. I can click right here and it hides all of those windows, or hides them or opens them back up. I would click and have them all open up. We're going to be mostly using this, the tool palette. To begin with, we're going to be drawing some lines. This is the arrow, and you can hover your mouse right over the different tools and it shows you exactly what they're used for. Use this tool to select, resize, and move objects. Use this tool to select objects by drawing a rectangle around them. Use this tool to draw free and constrained lines. This is the first tool we'll be using. So if I click on that tool, I can draw a line anywhere on this page. Now this line is changing the different degrees. And if you look right down here, it shows me the degrees that it's changing. And it also shows me how long the line is. By clicking and holding it, you get more options. So I can have a 90-degree line, and now when I draw this line, it'll only be 90 degrees. 90 degrees straight that way, or 90 degrees straight that way, 90 degrees up, 90 degrees to the left. It's kind of hard to see what I'm doing right here, So I'm going to skip down all the way to this magnifying glass. You can use the magnifying glass two ways. I can click once on it. The magnifying glass has a little plus in it, and it zooms in. And I click it again, it zooms in even further. And I click it again, it zooms in even further. So it's zoomed in 12 times right now. If I hold the Alt key, the ALT key on the keyboard, it changes to a negative, and I can zoom back out. An easier way to do this is just to use the magnifying glass and then draw a box around what you want to zoom in on. And now it just zoomed in on that box. And then to get back to my home view, I can click on the 1 to 1. Go ahead and fill in all the lines on these 4 boxes as I do right now. I'll speed this up a little bit. And you can also move your windows around, your little tool windows and different windows around if you need to. I'm going to click on my arrow, I'm going to click on that line that I just made and hit the delete key and delete it. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this guy. Now I'm going to grab my 90-degree tool, line tool, and start drawing right on those lines. And see how they line up perfectly? Sometimes it looks like it's a little bit off, but when we zoom all the way out, you won't notice it. I'll finish all of these lines very quickly. Now, every so often, you should always go back and save your work. Remember to go back to the file and save your work. I don't have to do save as, I just click save and it updates my file, my Smith Activity 1 file. I'm going to use the hand tool now to move my screen to the next box and do the same thing. These are still 90-degree lines. Use my save. You should always save your work in case something happens with the computer. Go back to my hand tool. Now I have 45-degree lines. Using the same tool, hold it down and go to the 45s. It's okay if these ones don't line up perfectly with the other lines. Get them as close as possible to the lines. Save your work. Scroll down a little bit. I can also use this little bar right here to scroll up and down. And we have one last set of lines, the 30-degree lines. If that line is too long, say I went too far on there, I can always go back to the arrow and pull it back to where it needs to go. Sorry. Let me undo what I just did. Use the arrow and pull it back to where it needs to go. I can always also just click on it and hit the delete key on my keyboard to make it go away. Now I can finish off what I was doing before. By constraining your lines with this tool, it makes it much easier to get exact 30-degree lines versus using the regular tool and trying to make sure you're lined up at 30. I'm going to save my work. I'm going to go 1 to 1, and you can see I have all the lines done. Now that you've finished doing the lines, you need to complete the rest of the project. The next step is going to be filling out all the rectangles, and that's a simple tool, the rectangle tool. If you click and hold down on it, you can see there's two different rectangles. One starts from the center and one starts from the edges. I'm going to zoom in on my rectangles so I can see it a little bit better, and then just complete the rectangles. Start at the top corner, click and drag your mouse, and let go down the bottom. It's that simple. I can use the hand tool to push this up to the next section, or I could zoom out and zoom back in. Once again, the square tools are easy. If you hold down the shift key while you're dragging the square, it'll make a perfect square each time. So click and hold, press the shift key, see how it makes a perfect square no matter where I drag my mouse. For this next step, you're going to use the polygon tool. There's two different polygons you're going to be drawing. One is a 6-sided polygon and one is an 8-sided polygon. This tool right here is the polygon tool. If you notice, there's a dot on both sides, so that one will start on the side and draw to the other side. As in earlier, if you press the shift key while holding this, it'll draw it straight across. And there's my polygon. If you click and hold this, you'll get ones that start from the center, or ones that start from the corner, or ones that start from the center and go to a corner. Now, to change it to this other one that's going to be an 8-sided shape, see that I'm drawing right now as a 6-sided shape, and that's incorrect. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to press the Alt key, the ALT key, and click once while holding the Alt key down on this shape. And it'll ask you, how many sides do you want your polygon to have? I'm going to click 8 and OK. Now my polygon will have 8 sides. Unfortunately, it just covered up my object. If I move it over to the side, you can see that the other object is behind it. This is a function of the program that shows the layers. So we drew this one first, we drew this one second. I can put this one behind this first one. So if I click on this, go to Layout, go to Arrange, and move it backwards. So I can send it all the way to the back, or I can just move it back one layer. So if I move it back one layer, see how it moved it behind this one. I don't want to send it all the way to the back, I just want to move it behind this layer. Now I can move this back in place to where I wanted it, and it looks perfect. I'm going to zoom all the way out, and I'm going to go to these shapes right here. Use the magnifying glass and either click in the center or draw a box around them. For these shapes, one of them is closed, see how it goes all the way around the edge, and one of them is open. This one is open. Using the polygon tool, see how this one is closed and this one is open? So I'll start with the closed side. And what I'm doing is I'm just drawing a box all the way around this. When I get to the end, it'll automatically close and it's filled in with white. If you want to change the filling, you could. Under Properties, I could change the filling of this. That's the Properties window. And I could make it a color. I wouldn't worry about this too much because the printer will only print in black and white. For this next tool, it's a different tool. It's the open-ended polygon. So I click once, I click once and hold it, come down to the bottom, let go, and just start following the shape. Now, this is critical. Before I do this last one, when I get to this last one right here, I have to double click. Double click on the mouse. Click, click. And it closes. If you don't click twice, if I go around this shape and I click once where I want to end right there, that's where I wanted to end, and then I come back and double click, it backs off that last line. I'm going to hit the delete key and delete that piece. Now this one could be shaded in. I forgot to select it. This one could be shaded in, and notice the top doesn't have a line, or this side doesn't have a line closing it in. The line only went around the edge and left this side open. Yours may look different on your worksheet. The next one is the rounded corner rectangles. There are 3 of them, a P, a C, and an E. You want to use the P. So to start, I don't start down here on the corner. I start way up at the edge to make sure that this line is lined up with this side, and this line is lined up with this corner, this edge. So I'm going to line up both edges. I'm going to click and then pull it down to the other opposite corner. And there, it's perfect. Now notice this one's a little bit different. This one, the corners are a little bit more rounded. This one, the corners are a little bit less rounded. We're going to use the same tool. We're going to line it up exactly the same way. So I'm lining up with the edge and the edge. But notice how it covers it completely. That's not correct. I'm going to come back over here and make it see-through. So for the paint color, I'm going to make it none. And now you can see it doesn't line up. That was the paint color and the N for none. So using the arrow, I can grab this handle, not these 6 of them that are around the outside or 8 of them that are around the outside, but this one in the middle, and I can pull that down or push it up. I'm going to pull it down, and now it's the same rounded. If I go back and change the inside color, it's exactly the same. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Let's pull that up a tiny bit. Use that rounded corner rectangle with the P in the center. Line up with the corner. Line up with the corner. And now my corners aren't rounded enough. So I can drag that up. And that one's done. Remember to save every so often. File, save. The last thing we have to do is down here at the bottom, I just want you to write your initials in here. You're going to use this tool right here for drawing freehand lines. and I just want you to write your initials in cursive. Notice how difficult that is. I'm going to zoom all the way out. I'm going to look down here where it says name and project. So grab the A tool for name, write your name. Your first name and your last name. For the project, you can just write activity 1. Make sure you fill out the date and the period. We're going to save it one last time. Remember to save every few minutes. Oh, and we forgot the circle tool. So let's go back to the circles. I'm going to zoom in. There are 3 different circle tools you can use. If you click on the circle right here and hold it down, you can use the diameter tool, the radius tool, and the 3-point tool. These are the ellipse tools. I'm going to start with the diameter. Diameter of a circle goes from one side to the other, so I just click and hold it, and then let go on the other side. For the radius, I'm going to start in the middle and draw a radius for the circle. So I'll click on this tool and use the radius. Click and draw out to the center. There's the radius tool. And last is the 3-point tool. Click and hold this, go to the 3. The 3-point tool lets you draw any circle you want using 3 outside points of the circle. So I'm going to click and hold this, and it helps if you zoom in a little bit. I'll zoom in just a tiny bit. Go back to my 3-point circle tool. Click right on the edge of that circle and hold it down. Then let go. So I've just let go of the mouse, but you can see it's trying to follow my mouse for a circle. I'll come to that 3rd point, and you can do any point you want on the circle and click, and there's my 3-point circle. The last one we have on here is the ellipse. To draw the ellipse, click on the circle tool and find this ellipse right here. I'm going to start on the edge, so touching this side and touching this side right here. Click and hold it, drag it up so that you're touching the top and the side opposite. And let go. The same thing for this one, the same thing for the next one. And remember to file save every few minutes, just in case something happens with your computer. We are complete once you have your name, date, period, and project on there. The last thing I need to do is to print this. So I will go up here to File and Print. I'm going to make sure it's printing to the right printer. The correct printer is the RSM402_06. Make sure you print to the right printer. If you print to the incorrect printer, it'll pop out somewhere else. We are only printing page 1 of this, so see how it says pages 1 to 1? If yours says pages 1 to 2 or 1 to 4, make sure you click on pages and make sure you make it only page 1 to page 1. Mine says all because there's only one page. Then hit OK. But before you print it, make sure everything is correct.